All right. And welcome to Between Two Yetis, the Mets edition 2017. This is our first time we're actually on tour.
Yeah.
And everyone probably knows who you are.
I am Colin Squire.
Sir Squire.
Colin Squire Publishing will take it off now. Everybody knows who I am. We'll put that away. That will stop people stopping for a chat. Yeah, we're here at Mets. I've been coming to the show for over 20 years. I guess, which is, from a super yacht industry point of view, is quite exceptional. I think, and the show.
You've been in the industry a lot longer, though, right?
I started in the industry in 1978 by trade. Yeah.
So you
don't
you
swear.
Sorry, no, I bleep everything.
No,
So we're solid on that.
Swearing.
So you started in
I go to
78.
church every Sunday.
And
Sorry.
did you start washing the boats? How did you start?
I left school. I was trained as a printer, which explains why I'm now a publisher and I can make the most beautiful super yacht magazine in the world, Yachting Matters. You can find it online, yachtingmatters.com. I thought I'd get in there. That's the deal I've got with Lee. It's going to incredibly increase the viewings of my online magazine.
And it's one of the. Well, we'll get to the magazine.
Well, the magazine's
See you in a bit.
exceptional. Matthew, I'll see you soon. I started in 1978. I was a printer in probably the biggest print company in Europe. In fact, they do all the Harry Potter books now. I mean, millions of books every year. That's what I was trained in. I somehow, in 1976, got it into my head to go to sea. I went to college, learned navigation, even though I'd never been to sea apart from in the local fishing boats with a fishing rod. And everybody laughed at me. And then one day I met a guy called Bernard Matthews, who was the world's biggest turkey producer. And
so for the American audience, they won't know who Bernard Matthews
Bernard Matthews basically discovered turkeys in 1952.
Discovered turkeys?
Well, he was a young man. He went to a local auction, and it was coming up to Christmas. And he bought some turkeys at this auction for not a lot of money, sold them and made a profit, and realised there was money in turkeys. And he ended up, I can't tell you all the stories but he ended up having the biggest turkey business in the world. I mean, millions of turkeys every year. And anyway, he had a private yacht called Bernadette. It was built by the Bath Iron Works in America. Just to keep all the Americans.
Bath Iron Works.
It was built by the Bath Iron Works in 1937. She was used as some kind of a ship. She was commandeered into the Navy in the Second World War. And anyway, I ended up on her as a deckhand in 1978, and I can still remember leaving Lowestoft in England with my lovely white sweater on with Bernadette across the front and my long white pants. And that's when my adventure started, and I guess 40 years later, unfortunately, I'm still having a damn good time, and my life's changed a bit. I now publish my magazine. I have an online, it's a chat room for yacht captains. We have 1,400 captains now. It's a totally private site.
I know that Underwater Lakes Limited advertises with you, and one of the reasons why is because your magazine doesn't have a huge distribution. It has the right distribution.
It has a massive distribution.
Good to see you. We'll catch up later.
I'll come and see you.
Okay. Massive as in?
Well, I print 9,000 copies.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
But in terms of what
the
other people will lie about.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't say that people lie. You can read all the
figures they fictionalise.
Is it masturbate or manipulate?
They masturbate their numbers.
Masturbate their numbers. Yes. Anyway, I can't say bad things about my competition.
Absolutely not. We can because
you see it from the outside.
Yeah.
But what I do is what makes me unique is that I learned from a very early, when I left the sea in 1991, I managed.
Is this when you met Peter? Or?
I met Peter in 1994. He came to my house in England with the first approved Lloyd's underwater light ever. And I still have that in a box at home. He never came back to collect it. He just told me I could use it in my private swimming pool. Anyway, it's still in the box, but I'm going to one day maybe give it to a museum. That's how I met Peter, and I started. I have a product called Yacht File, which allows companies like Peter to put a brochure in or a newsletter or a magazine, and I hand deliver that to 2,000 yachts on one trip, over 75, 80 foot, basically professionally run boats. And it's the same with the magazine. It's the only magazine that has 2 titles. So I print 9,000 copies. 2,000 copies are called The Yacht Owner. 7,000 copies are called Yachting Matters.
This doesn't go to America, does it?
It does. I ship 800 copies to National Marine. If anybody wants a copy, please call in at National Marine in Fort Lauderdale, and they should have a pallet with 800 on.
Okay.
So they do go to the States, and I mail them to America. But anyway, so I set off in my car, which makes my publication unique. Now, I've done this since 1994. I will ship pallets of magazines and yacht files all over the Mediterranean. And I then leave in my car, and I've just done a trip in August. That's 7,300 miles. And this lovely car I have, unfortunately, has a computer. It tells me how long I've been driving. And in that 4-week period, I was driving for 204 hours.
And you're still doing that?
And I'm still doing it. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. He can tell you later. I'll tell him later. But I do draw
Early
a pension.
50s.
I do draw a pension.
Really?
I do draw a pension, yes.
See, the one thing I found interesting about this industry, there's like different layers of age groups, and there's you, Peter, and my father. My father's Nigel, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Nigel Savage.
Yeah. Oh, I know Nigel. How is he, by the way?
Good.
I haven't seen him for years.
I know,
He was a great friend.
He's scorned, screw you to the industry type thing. He's had enough of doing.
Oh yeah, no, I
shows
know
and
a
else.
lot of people copied his products and on him.
Yeah, so he's just moving to Falmouth now, so he's going to go and retire down there.
Oh, he's a lovely man, huh?
Yeah.
Give him my regards. Seriously, he was one of my clients years back.
I
used to like him. Yeah, then he got bought out, or somebody came in and things were kind of started to go wrong.
Let's not talk ill of people.
No, we don't talk ill of people. Everybody in this industry is lovely.
Yeah. I think everyone who's of a certain age is lovely. So, people like Dick Van Lent, people like, I don't know why Dick came to mind, but anyway.
Well, Dick's always coming into your mind, I'm sure.
But there's that level of honesty that your age group has.
Dick Van Lent, one of the famous things that Dick, I'm one of the few people, I once picked Dick Van Lent up on the dock at Carg Island. We just built a yacht with Dick, and we had the owner coming out to pay the final payment on it, which was probably about £6 million or the equivalent of at the time. I think the boat cost about 15 million. And I was second in command. I was the chief officer on the boat, and the ropes that were holding this brand new, beautiful boat, this was 1983, to the dock, were covered in oil, were worn, were filthy, and we had the owner coming out, and I wanted new lines to put out for the owner.
Right.
And Dick Van Lent wouldn't give me, and I can still remember holding Dick Van Lent and the captain of this boat, bless him, he's dead now, Jeremy Dawson Hall. I can still remember grabbing me from behind and pulling me back from Dick Van Lent, because I really was angry about having these dirty ropes on my lovely new boat. And believe it or not, within about 2 days I had new ropes everywhere. And Dick and I have been great friends ever since, where we were friends before. I wanted clean ropes. But the one thing
Clean ropes on a new boat.
well, it just made sense, you know.
Yeah.
If the guy, I spent, as everyone does, I was proud of my boat, and the boat was beautiful. was a lovely brand new Bannenberg design boat called Perry, so you can look it up on the internet. And it, and I wanted these ropes. And anyway, we got the ropes. But one of the things I'll never forget Dick for, I should rephrase that. One of the things I will never forget Dick Van Lent for is one of his sayings. I remember being at the Fort Lauderdale show a few years back, and he said once somebody has sat in a car or owned a car with leather seats, they will always have leather seats. And it's a fact. I have leather seats in my car. I can't bear being in a car without leather seats. And he's right. Once somebody has, and you've got obviously to have the money, but once you've attained or you've got to that level where you have this most beautiful boat, you'll always want a boat of that level or a better boat. You never want to have something lesser, and obviously unless you go broke and you're bankrupt. But no, that was his fact. Yeah, once you give somebody something that is special and is really nice, they will always want that.
Yeah. All right.
No, but but you can go back. So my delivery is what makes my, not only is the magazine exceptional in its content. I mean, and having been a printer, I love putting things in the magazine that are different, like fold outs and our business cards that pop out.
Oh yeah, the card files.
Yeah, the card file, and there's all sorts of things. And
because I think I've known. I was trying to work out when my father first brought me into the industry, and I remember going to the Boat International book launch parties in London. Do you remember where they were? They were in this little.
Yeah.
I think that's when I first met you.
They were the book launches. Yeah.
And I was 16, I think.
Which I was banned from.
Were you?
Yes, I can still remember the first one I went to, and I was welcomed. I walked in. It was when I just had the yacht file. I don't think I had the magazine at the time. And Malcolm McLean was there. There was a guy, Christian. Can't remember Christian's surname. He was the publisher of the magazine, and I can remember it was like I felt a bit like I felt like somebody hadn't had a meal for 10 years, been put into a chocolate factory, and there I was with all of the Boat International clients, and I went and I was saying, well, I do this yacht file thing, and I can deliver your brochure, I can put it in front of all these. I now call it the yacht file. I call it is the boat show in a bag, because 95% of captains never come to a boat show. So I take basically the companies to the boat show, if that makes sense. And I kind of went in there, and within half an hour, I'd probably taken about £15,000 in bookings from my yacht file. And I made the mistake of telling
someone.
Christian, Charmaine, his name was, and I was ejected. I can't understand why I was asked to leave, but I was never then invited to another of those parties. I actually have 20. Funny enough, I sent an email the other day to this wonderful lady, Marilyn Mower.